yet. But meanwhile, what I really want to do today, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And just for giggles, I am going to put on a slideshow just because. Slideshow from the beginning. So this is really all about you guys today. And what I really want is to find out what you want, what we want to talk about. If there are things that are still hanging out in your brain about finishing up the year. So we'll see how it goes as we continue on. We had about 25 on the list that were planning to come in. So don't know if they all will or will be jumping in late. The nice part about LLA is you could change your mind at the last minute and go to something else. You didn't have to sit on this one, but I'm glad you all did. And so I'd kind of like to know from you guys, what would you like from today? What is it that really would make a difference for you in terms of this session? Is there something that you really want us to talk about, issues that are going on? So take yourself off mute or just raise your hand and I'll call on you and let's see what you want. Unless you don't want anything.
Well,
except a good cup of coffee. Hey, Tova, what do you want?
Over here, this may be just, I might be alone in this, but I would like to talk about anything other than COVID related things. There's so much of our Rotary year that reasonably so has been de-emphasized because we've had so many COVID concerns. So as we kind of go into this last quarter, I feel like our club and most organizations have a pretty decent plan in place for how to handle COVID for the remainder of the year. And I would like to focus on other things.
I think I'm with you. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready. Okay, and how about anybody else? I see Andy's hand is raised.
I'd like to talk about how to use Zoom as a positive feature in the future. In other words, I felt that we were able to reach out a lot more people and maybe not have a in-person meeting every week, but have a Zoom meeting maybe once a month.
Absolutely. We're going to have some true opportunities, I think. And in fact, next week, Anita is hosting a meeting for us to start creating a team at the district level for how to do hybrid meetings. I know in our club, you guys are, we're doing hybrid where you have people in person and you have some people on Zoom. And I think that's going to be a new wave of the future. So yeah, we can talk about that some more too. That's a good one, Andy. And I see Leslie's hand is raised.
I would love to just do a roundtable and everybody come up with one silver bullet of I wish I had blah, blah, blah as Rotary president, just to pass on to the PEs. Like for me, I realized that I really should have had my own email address that was Rotary specific because I think I missed some stuff because I just get so many emails from different sources and I wish I had somehow organized that differently.
Yeah, that's, I did that early on when I became, I think DGN, because it started bombarding me as governor, in that governor line, but it definitely helped. I didn't do it during my presidency year, but I think in today's world, it's like, good idea. We can do a go round in a minute as we come back. And Tom.
So one of the things that I realized our board, our incoming president-elect had a board retreat for the upcoming board a few days ago. And as we were in kind of an early passing of the baton, one of the things that I realized is that has happened in this past year is that everything that's happened has forced us to reforce our to renew our thinking in so many different ways. It was easy to go from year to year. Okay, this is what the past president did, and this is what I'm going to do. Well, our feet were knocked out from under us, and we had to, in our club, and I think in everyone else's, find a new path, a new way of moving forward. And it's opened up a lot of opportunities for our club to reset, to actually start over in some things that we've been doing in the past that were not necessarily the most effective. And that's so in a way, you know, COVID has been a terrible impact, but it has also had some very positive some side effects that I think will benefit all of us greatly.
Great. Yeah, I agree. And if we have time, I'd love to come back and, you know, in addition to saying, I wish I had, because I think that's a value added for the PEs. In a one way we can help to prep them. But another thing to come back and say, what were some of the silver bullets? What were some of those the benefits that this year brought? Andy suggested that Zoom was one way to attract new members. And I think, like you said, we've had to do a reset, and not all those resets were bad. I think we gained some things from it. Deb, welcome.
What I would say on all that too is that Zoom, there are people who come to my meetings via Zoom because they aren't going to do the drive to our actual meeting in person, or because it gives them an opportunity. And quite honestly, I had a lot of people who were feeling isolated and wanted to socialize. And I'm like, why don't you come to one of our meetings? So I think Zoom's an opportunity as well. I think the in-person fellowship is really important for a whole group of people as well. And then I think the other thing is, you know, we just talked to somebody from Honduras this week. We talked to Chiapas, our sister club, the week before. We've had opportunities that we've never had before because of Zoom too. So it's, look at the positive for it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what we've seen on the membership retention numbers, it's 97%, 97 plus something. And what that says is we brought in a lot of new members. Quite frankly, we have in 21 different clubs, and they are staying put. They wanted to join Rotary. They didn't know anything other than Zoom Rotary this year, right? And yet they've come on board. So we have an opportunity to take advantage of that and reach out to people who maybe this is a good way to have them stay involved. And since attendance isn't the mandatory thing, at least in most clubs that it has been in the past, there's some other opportunities there as well when people are gone. Okay, anybody else we want to address? Sam. Will Banks, did you just have your hand raised and you don't really mean to, or it was still up from?
No, I just didn't unmute.
Oh, okay.
I was talking to myself.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've been sensing here that maybe other folks have as well is that there seems to be, I believe there is a kind of a pent up yearning by a lot of people for fellowship. Not just Rotarians, but I mean, a lot of folks. I think that these next, say, 6 to 8 months are really going to be, potentially could be a huge boon to membership if folks get active and reaching out to people, because more and more people, I was amazed that we actually added 5 members this year, and we have 1 or 2 more that are looking at joining the club already. And we really didn't do much in terms of outreach except just maintain, stay alive. But I think it's an opportunity that people need to look at because I think that there really is a pent up demand for getting out there and being with the fellow human beings and doing good things.
Absolutely. Sorry about that screen. Yeah, we really, even on that in that first segment, when we were talking again, one of the comments from the breakout sessions with during WIN's part of it was help our communities come out, not just help our Rotarians come out of this past, but help our communities come out. And part of that is reaching out and saying, hey, we do great fellowship. We do great things in the community. Come join us. Come see what we're all about. Sit in on some meetings, see who we are, and let's see who you are and find out what you care about. So yeah, being able to reach out and take advantage of these post times. I won't say the word, Tova. And let's move into action again, and involvement and engagement and participation. I think it's great. Any other things that you guys want to cover? We got a lot to cover, and that's awesome. I love that. So anything else? Okay, well, let's kind of start at the beginning then. Let's go back. And I think the first thing Tova said was, let's talk about anything other than COVID. And I think that we have a lot to talk about in terms of that. Just, I just want to say, you guys, as a group of presidents, you were thrown in, you all committed to being president before this all began. I mean, heck, the world shut down on March 9th, the day after PETS. So it wasn't until you guys didn't know when you said yes, what you were going to get. And yet you stuck with it. And as crazy as the beginning of that whole thing was, you accomplished projects and you did find ways to bring in money. Maybe they weren't the same way. Maybe it wasn't as much money in your fundraisers as before, but you did it. And I mean, I look at the numbers and I'm just blown away by all of you. Seriously, you have been committed to this, and I'm just impressed. You didn't let this thing get us down. We didn't lose one club. Quite frankly, I was concerned that we might lose several clubs, and yet we made it through. So just in that, I want to say thank you, and just give yourselves a darn pat on the back. That's been huge. Yeah, it looked like you just took a great big deep breath, Corey, and I was like, yeah, we made it through. We did it. And we're not quite finished yet. We still have 2 months to wrap this year up, but I'm so proud of every one of you. And I know it's not what you thought you signed up for, but you did it anyway, and you came through it with flying colors. So great there. How do you guys see we can use Zoom going forward? Tova, I think you guys have a different way of scheduling your meeting, your club, right? How are you doing it?
Well, the hybrid, well, I don't want to say hybrid because we committed entirely to Zoom for the year. We have not yet started meeting in person. And some of that is because being on a smaller club, the meeting spaces that are available to us are tighter rooms where we all have to sit closer together. We're not a club that can rent a ballroom of a casino and distance in that way. So we have been virtual for the entire year. We are fortunate that our club budget is sitting on a bit of a surplus, actually a healthy surplus. So we are on board to make a technology investment going into next year. I've been looking at a couple local businesses that do basically like hybrid conference calls where they have people in the office physically sitting at the conference table, having a meeting with another team who is also virtual. And it's a kind of a combination of the computer, and then it's displayed on a monitor or a television screen that's up at the front of the room that then has a webcam on it and a microphone at the center of the table. So it's a little bit of like actual hardware investment to create a proper hybrid meeting where the people on Zoom are actually participating with the people who are physically present. I don't think that having people on Zoom watching other people have an in-person meeting cuts the mustard. And for people who are having or going into hybrid meetings, thinking that you could just be like streaming your meetings for people to watch. I encourage you to take that a step further, because
Yeah.
and it might take some you know, a webcam and a microphone to get there.
And that's part of what and I'll get to you in a second, Leslie. That's part of what there is information out on the zone website. So zone2627.org has some information about hybrid meetings and how to do them correctly, if you will, because you're right. If you've ever sat in on a meeting where everyone else is in person, you're on the computer, it's like, oh, why did I bother? I'm sorry, but it can be that way on some of them. And so it's really important for our clubs to engage not just the people in the meeting in person, but the people online as well, because they're in the meeting too. And we don't always have that in our mindset. So good, important. And I hear you're thinking about buying equipment, which can be an important investment and hopefully not too expensive to do that. Leslie, your comments. I know you're doing hybrids.
Well, we actually, you know, after President Knopf, is that how you say his last name? Basically asked us to remain remote. We have been remote for we were hybrid up through Thanksgiving. We went back live September, like when you came to visit our club on September 10th, that was our first live meeting. But it was hybrid, and we did work with the Hyatt to do exactly what Tova suggested, and that is to make an interactive Zoom version of the meeting. And we did figure out, it took like 3 different stations of computing, one for the speaker, you know, one to project, and then we had one at the back of the room. And my suggestion moving forward is that you have somebody in your club who is sort of like, maybe it's a new office, like a technology officer, or a team of a couple of people, because as the president, it was really difficult. I mean, first of all, I don't live in Incline, so I had to drive up there and get up there by about 6 a.m. for a 7 o'clock meeting to get all the technology set up. And I'm not a tech person anyway. I'm an educator. But you know, I was always that person who was like asking other people to help me set stuff up. And so my recommendation on that would be to literally get somebody whose wheelhouse is tech, or in our club, we've recruited a bunch of young members, and they're just like, it's, you know, for them, it's just like a no-brainer. So it's given them a really great place in the club to, you know, take ownership of and help some of us older folks who limp along using technology.
And I think that's great, is especially if they're newer members, now they have a role, right? And so, and they're adding value right from the get-go when you bring them in and you're asking them to help out with that. So I think that's great.
It is. That being said, though, I think it's we all have to be responsible for learning how to use this stuff. Technology is a new literacy. It's like learning how to read and learning how to do math. And so I don't think that any of us should be sitting back saying, I just don't do technology, I don't get it. I think we really need to do our best to learn how to do it. I think it would be really beneficial if Rotary actually, you know, if that, in fact, they probably already do. They have learning for everything, but literally how to do some of this stuff, just because of the age group, the demographics of Rotarians in general, you know, tend to be a little bit, I mean,
yeah, we're a little bit behind it.
Yeah, but anyway, so that would just be my recommendation, essentially, is that you pick, like, you literally get a tech officer, put them on your board, and get a team of people, because that same person can't not be there every single week necessarily. But yeah.
Yeah, and you know, we found that during doing rally this last week, that for every session we had at least one backup, but a lot of times we had 2 or 3 for that very reason, because you never know what's going to happen. And Anita found that just even her last session, where she was the key person and she couldn't get onto the Zoom. So what happened? You know, the backup person allowed her to get on, you know, and she was able to get on via phone, and the backup person ran her screen, you know, ran her slides. So we all need to be thinking about it in a broader way. you guys, your club is a larger club, but even the smaller clubs, Andy's club is a smaller club. And how do you do that? Does it, if you were on the screen, and do you still feel a part of that, the ongoing conversation and stuff? So we need to think about how do we involve people into it. Okay, tech officer, great idea. Yes, we're looking for tech people within our clubs, and then also we're going to have some folks at the district level so that clubs maybe who are just getting started and need advice, or if you don't have a tech officer within your club, you can still go to the district and ask for advice and get some help from there. So those are things we're working on. Any other comments about that? Your hand is still up, Leslie, so I'm just, yeah. Okay, let's go around the room. We have, these sessions are going too fast, but let's go around the room, and we'll do Leslie's first, and then we'll come back and do the silver bullets, because I love that part. It makes me think of the joy in the journey somehow. So I wish I had. So Leslie, you came up with that, and yours was to, I wish I had a Rotary specific web or email, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It would have been so much smarter for me to do that. And probably everybody else here already has that set up. I'm slow on the uptake, but it would have been way better, because I do think I missed some stuff just in the shuffle, because I get so many emails and so much junk. And I have 2 email addresses already. But I think Rotary would have been great, and I'm going to do it from now on.
And think about these, because we can help our PEs by making these suggestions to them. Okay. Deb, what about you? I wish I had
engaged earlier. I kept on thinking, well, I'll have my year, it'll start in July. And I should have been thinking about things that I needed to be setting up well before July. And I know that it said in the training, you've certainly told us all at pets and pre-pets, but I started slow for sure, because I needed to really get up to speed and do some catch up.
Well, but you caught up. Your club did phenomenally, and you brought in new members, and your club's been involved in lots of cool projects in the community. So you may have started slow, but you're finishing strong, and that's, to me, it's okay. But good reminder for your PE, take it seriously. The more you plan ahead, the easier it is July 1st to go forward. Even if the plans change, at least you have that bigger picture in your head, because I think plans did change this year for a lot of people. Sam, what about you? I wish I had.
You know what? I've been sitting here thinking since you said that, and I really don't have a lot of regrets. I think we worked extremely hard to build and maintain sort of a plan of succession, which I think was really important and speaks to a lot of the issues that Deb was talking about, getting people started early. We actually had our we have our presidential line out to well, 3.5 years from now, I guess now. So we got
and you guys did something different. I mean, you sent your PE to pets as well, which at first
right.
It was like, but it worked out, and it gave her a whole year to plan then,
right.
and think about what needed to be done, even though the vision was for this year, and hers will be for next year with the All Aboard Rotary. But still, that was a different approach, and
yeah,
you tried something new. Yeah.
Yeah. The
big. You ended up with 3.5 years of leadership, and you have a whole bunch of new members in there too.
Right, and we the other concept that I think we switched over to it, we created it, we're still working on making it sustainable is that idea of an executive leadership committee versus just a president and then a president-elect and the board. It's not the board, it's the leadership. So it's all of the things that you usually either follow the president and president-elect to do separately. It's done by essentially 4 people. So that is also very helpful. And I think we made it through this year. It would have been, I think we would have gotten further ahead in a normal year, but we've made it through, and I think we're gonna continue it.
Well, you and Corey not only had COVID to deal with, but also the fires. And so
Yeah.
additional set of issues to deal with on top of everything else. So. Anybody else? I wish I had. Anybody?
I guess for me, reaching out to the chronic no-showers. I started to reach out to a couple of them early on in my presidency with the motivation of new president and rah and get everybody back. And upon talking to them, it was kind of intimidating. Like, I'm not sure if they want to come or can come. And long story short, some of them just aren't Zoom people, flat out. And I wish I could have made more of an effort, I guess, to get some of those chronic no-showers to come on a regular basis.
Are they, you're starting to meet in person again though now, right?
Oh yeah, we're doing hybrid. We're doing both.
Are they coming back?
No.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's time to reach out to them another time, as you know, you did before, but now as you're starting to come back, see if things have changed for them, or ask them what could they need? What do they want?
Sounds good. I can do that.
Yeah. And hopefully, like we do, it's still through June is still your term. So we still have time to make some differences and some changes. Anybody else in terms of Tom? Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the main thing that it just came to mind to me is that the last few months of this year has just seemed to have been so much going on. We've had 2, 3 district grants go through. It wasn't that we weren't doing anything in the first part of the year, but it's like things have been set up early in the year that all came together at the tail end of it. Maybe that's typical for a Rotary year. I don't know, but I just wish that things could have been spaced out a little bit more so that we weren't in such a crunch at times.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're not alone in that feeling. And to some extent, I think it does happen every year because you build up and you're working on things and then they all come to fruition at a similar time. But this year was a little extra.
I feel that as well. And I think maybe some of that's just the running on a year that goes from July to July. Where it's like you're bookended by nice weather and it feels like so much of your year is happening right in the depths of winter where nobody does anything and can go out. So all of a sudden the weather turns nice and you're like, we have every project and every social under the sun to get done in 2 months, y'all.
Yeah, and that's true every year, right? That's not just this year, but it was exacerbated this year clearly. So,
but I do appreciate the fact that so many of the deadlines were moved out to the very end of the year, whereas in past years they've had to, like, grants have had to be closed out earlier. That I think is good, and if that can be carried forward, I think that gives clubs a little bit more breathing room and opportunity to do our good work.
That's good input, and we are looking at that. We're continuously trying to look for ways that are there ways that the district is not facilitating things for the club? So how can we make things easier for the clubs? And some things are changeable within our district ability and some things aren't. So, but I think that's a good Good suggestion, Tom. Thank you. And these are being recorded, so we'll get to take these back to everybody as well and share these ideas. Anybody else with I wish I had? I wish I had. And welcome, David and Stacy. I know you came in, and hope you weren't in the waiting room too long there. Okay, let's switch gears then and go to the other question is, what are some of the silver bullets that we've experienced this year? Any silver bullets?
What do you mean by a silver bullet?
Silver bullet is, maybe that's the wrong term, but let's just say silver lining. Maybe I said silver bullet. I don't know where it came from. Silver linings, the silver linings of the, yeah, what silver bullet? That sounds like the masked man. Anyway, and his horse was silver, right? Silver linings to COVID and what happened this year. Any silver linings, any moments of joy in your journey this year? I see. Who was that?
Lauren.
Oh, hi, Lauren. I didn't see you. I just heard you. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I'd say the biggest silver lining for us was we're already like a new club, so we didn't have those traditions of a restaurant or projects that we had to do every year. So we kind of took this opportunity to try new things. We started a bi-monthly Zoom wind down, we called it. It was at nighttime and we had speakers from throughout the district come over and really focus on Rotary education. And then I think the biggest thing that we were excited to do was we picked up the music contest from a club that just wasn't able to do it virtually. We were kind of like, well, we could figure that out. And so we did. And I think that was probably the biggest silver lining that COVID gave us, was that opportunity to really try new things, because it didn't really matter if it failed. There was no track record or standards yet.
It's so true. And, as a passport club, you were still, well, you're very new, and you hadn't, the whole idea of passport clubs is changing a little bit, and you're getting more involved, but you had a lot of new members who knew nothing about Rotary, and you've been really doing a lot to educate them. And that's big kudos to you, and other older clubs, more seasoned clubs, could learn from that. Just because we are seasoned Rotarians doesn't mean we shouldn't bring speakers in from the district, because there's new things to learn, or a new perspective to hear, or just a refreshing of things that we've already known, and so kudos to you on that. Awesome jumping into the music contest. I mean, I was so proud of you guys for doing that, and came out fabulously. And now you're organizing the foundation dinner for the area. Way to go. I know, but so proud that you have stepped up, and whether it was this year or just because you guys were maturing to that level as a club, I don't know, but well done. Any other silver linings?
Okay, Leslie Herman here. Okay, so I do want to say silver bullet, because I just, I know, like, I understood the concept, but what it means is something that is simple and seemingly magical. It's a seemingly magical solution to a difficult problem. And so here for me, one of the things when I surveyed my club at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of my term, we didn't really have a strong connection to the international aspect of Rotary. Most of our members didn't. Only the ones who'd actually been on like an immunization day really understood or had the opportunity to actually go to an international conference to really understand the magnitude of Rotary and the depth and how cool this organization really is. And so I think, one of the silver linings, if you will, or one of the silver bullets, if you will, is that we really were able to through Zoom, really expand our personal connections with Rotarians around the world. We were able to schedule a meeting with a club in Nepal. We were able to schedule a meeting with a club in Tanzania. And we were able to schedule a club at a meeting and now a project with a team in Pátzcuaro, Mexico. So it's really been cool in the sense that I really think if I achieved anything this year, it was like really helping this little tiny club in Incline Village, Nevada, this little town, to understand that we are so much bigger than this little group of people in Incline. And it's really empowering to be able to, I mean, it's just, for me, it was like a real awakening that this is just such an amazing club. So for me, that really has been fantastic. And I hope that our club will continue with a hybrid format because of that very reason.
Very cool. It makes me think of, and Stacy, you'll be next, and then Sam. It makes me think of Covey's circle of influence, and we start with, what we can focus on, what's within our circle of influence. And as we focus on that, our circle of influence grows, and you've taken advantage of that. So very cool. Stacy, what's the silver lining for you?
Well, there's so many silver linings I can't even control myself. But one of the biggest ones was nobody could tell me we've always done it this way.
Oh, good point.
We had to do it every different way than the sun this time. And I will tell you, none of my members repeated those things to me at all this year. They were like, whatever you say, we're going to try. We're going to go with it. The use of technology, keep going hybrid. I encourage all of you to keep doing that for your members and for the community. But another thing was, and as those that were in my session, vocational service took a stand up and made everybody notice what vocational service was this year with helping all of our small businesses. And I was ever so proud to be a Rotarian and being able to go into those small businesses and offer our services to help them. So that is my biggest silver lining, because I mean, they are the foundations of our community. So cool beans.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Stacy's club did something called Open for Business. Open in Auburn. Yeah. And so it was really highlighting and letting the community know what businesses were open and where they were, and really, asking people to go use those businesses to keep them open and keep the community viable. So thank you for that. And with that kind of motivation, little club of excellence, great job. So well done, Stacy. Sam, how about you? See your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted one little thing, a small silver bullet, maybe 22 caliber, I guess. Anyway, one thing that happened to us was we had been for the last couple of years working really hard. We had resurrected our club newsletter, and I really think I really think that a lot of clubs that don't have a newsletter may not understand the real benefit of having a newsletter, in that what we were doing was we were connecting with all the members every meeting. So we'd have a meeting, but we could actually summarize the meeting and how great it was and how wonderful it was and who did what and who said. So we would do that in our newsletter, and it was really starting to have an effect on our members, and it was very positive. But I became president. I was also the newsletter editor, and I couldn't do all of that stuff with the challenges of last year as well. So simple, unbelievably simple solution. I just kept notes during the meetings and sent a short email out to all our members through our Club Runner Blast email, telling them exactly the same kind of things that we would have put in the newsletter. It was much quicker. much easier, and really actually might have even reached more people, because some people see the news there and say, I don't know, I don't want to read that. But the emails were extremely popular, and I got a huge amount of feedback on them, and I think it had a very big impact. So I just wanted to mention that. So from the president, exactly, from the president, communication,
and especially
after every
during,
meeting.
yeah, because it's like, well, what's going on? And I think that even for those people who didn't show up, having, and I'll say the same thing, Andy did something similar for our club, and it really made a difference, because it's like, well, what's happening? I couldn't go this week, but I knew what was going on with my club, and that made a difference for me. So all of you, take advantage of that, if it's not a newsletter, communicate in some way is really important. Tova, your hand is up. And then Leslie, is yours up again? Okay, but Tova.
Yeah, I like this silver bullet take on like small magical things that we did that transformed the year. So I started the year, about the first half of the year, with our weekly Zoom presentation, presenting from a PowerPoint, because that is what we had already been doing in our previous years of in-person meetings. Was the president would show a PowerPoint that would have the announcements and the reminders and all the, anything that was happening. And not only did I just feel not into it, I kind of hated doing the PowerPoint every week. But it was, one more thing to maintain, and then you had to get the information from the PowerPoint into the newsletter and onto the website and distribute into this.
And then back again the following week.
Yeah. So I had our club member, who is kind of our guy who really was in charge of the website. And he was our speaker for one of the days, and he showed everybody how to access and how to update the website. We don't use Club Runner, we're on Weebly, and we happen to have a website that's very easy for anyone with administrative access, which is just adding them to the permissions list to go in and edit and change. So we had a whole meeting that was a tutorial on the website. And then from then on, instead of creating a separate PowerPoint, I would just update the website in great detail about what the meeting was. And then using screen share on Zoom, I now lead our meetings from our website, which not only keeps our website more up to date, but it led for more dynamic meetings, because instead of my always having to cut and paste and create graphics and create text to fill a PowerPoint, now I can just have a link, so something that introduces it, click on active links, and all of a sudden we're at the Rotary International website, or we're at the active website for the partner of whoever's speaking for the day. And, for all things rally, I was able, in our time of promoting rally, in particular, I was able to kind of like link to a different part of the rally website and explore, like, hey, everybody, here's the schedule. And it wasn't just posting the same flyer week after week. So it became more dynamic. It was two birds with one stone, instead of having to keep two entirely separate things updated. So that, like, I don't know what the next president's going to do, but I will never go back to a PowerPoint.
Well, I think it's great too that okay, current example excluded, right? But it's, I don't know whether it's your youthfulness, but you utilized it in a totally different way than others. But the point,
I'm going to interrupt you, Roberta. It was your coming to our club in October, kind of your first district governor check-in, and one of your critiques was like, your guys' website's a little out of date, and it forced us to look at it, and then all of a sudden we saw there was all of this like untapped potential. So thank you for the feedback.
You never know, right? It wasn't, and I have to admit, I mean, I'm supposed to be updating my club's website, and it's just been a crazy year, and I haven't done it. So as I roll off of this position, I have a feeling somebody's going to be tapping me on the shoulder again and say, better get that website up to date. But awesome, great idea. But however you guys do it in your club, it's, I think, communicate, whether it's social media, your Facebook pages, your newsletter, an email like Sam is doing, whatever it is, whatever works for your club and your members, communicate. So awesome. Deb, I see your hand raised.
So I don't know if it's a silver bullet or lining, but I would definitely say that one of the things that helped us a lot for me is I asked for help. Like whenever, and I have a lot of people who are excellent mentors in my club and past district governors and AGs and, you know, on the committee for grants. And like we did a pretty non-traditional grant this year, and I could go to someone and say, I need your help. How do I make this work? And I was like, it's a little bit hard. You're the president. You're supposed to be in charge, right? But somewhere along the way, I really realized that when I asked for help, I got a lot more done. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
You know, it's so true. And I don't care whether you're the club president, the district governor, or the president of Rotary International. You don't have to know everything, you know, and you certainly aren't expected to do everything yourself. It is intended for us to share what we do and how we do it. So great point, Deb. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask. That's the whole point of having the district leadership team, is to help you guys. That's the only reason the district exists, is to help the clubs. So please always feel free and encourage your PEs as well to reach out to the district leadership. So thank you on that. And Toba, is your hand raised again, or it just hasn't come down? So, okay. It's okay. So what else? Anything else? Oh, Leslie's hand is raised.
Okay, I think I just want to shout out to Berta right now. And I have not done this publicly, but I'm going to do it now because honestly, Berta has been so patient with me this year because I've done some really stupid things, as I always do in my life. And I just appreciate her acceptance of me and plodding through this year. I feel like I really learned a lot, but what's great about Berta is that she's a non-judgmental. And I think she really did embrace the notion of flexibility this year in dealing with me. And so I want to thank her for that personally. And what a great year for you, Berta, honestly.
Oh,
Amazing. So round of applause for you. Thank you.
Well, you know, none of us asked for this year in this way. And I will tell you, in my private moments, I wasn't always positive. My husband heard the other side of it. But, you know, Sam, quit it. But, you know, as leaders, I don't care what position you have, that's part of your job. It's like, okay, you what do you bring to, I tried to bring reality. We don't have to like the circumstances, but we have a choice. How do we respond to it? We can react to it in just frustration, or we can respond with purposeful intent. And that was what I tried to do. I mean, I think like all of us, there's, I wish I had done that, or I wish I'd done that, or I should have done that differently. You do the best you can. And that's all I tried to do, but be there for you guys, because I knew it was hard on you. I mean, yeah, I was governor. It hurt for some of the things, but it was hard for you too. You don't necessarily get another opportunity. So Stacy, your hand is raised.
Well, I just want to come on and congratulate all of you that are on this call right now. And I think that all of our clubs, all 59 of them in District 5190, were very fortunate to have you at the helm, because you had to take up and deal with some unusual circumstances, and you came out with flying colors. If you didn't see Rally, if you haven't been watching Facebook, the group page and the regular page for District 5190, you all took this with positive, got your clubs out there. And I'd like to say a big round of congratulations to all of the club presidents for 59 clubs that succeeded in coming through and still looking absolutely amazing. Congratulations to all of you.
And amen to that. And that is definitely the case. You know, in spite of everything, we achieved our goals for district goals for TRF. We achieved our district goals for for polio. We are only down 1% in membership, which if you think about this year, to me, that's a huge accomplishment. 21 clubs grew, 12 stayed the same, didn't lose anybody. And so I consider those amazing projects. Some of the projects we put together were just fabulous. Actually, all of them were, but we did hundreds of projects across the district and helped our communities stay together and helped individuals survive. And that says a lot to me. So blessings to you all. Leslie, is your hand back up?
Sorry. I keep
Okay.
forgetting.
That's okay. I know you have to hit it twice there to get it to go away. So I think we have just a few more minutes. So I want to just take the chance to say, like Stacy just said, to say thank you. And I also want to say thank you. And I would ask all of you as presidents to tell your assistant governors thank you. I know Lindy's on the call and I appreciate that because she has been, this was her first year as an assistant governor. And she's had a different job to do too as assistant governor. All the assistant governors put their hearts into this. And I would ask that when you go back, take a minute to write a note or to pick up the phone, say thank you to your assistant governors because they're there to support you and your clubs and to help you with the issues as well. And believe me, they'll appreciate a little bit of appreciation. These are the assistant governors. Woo, look at all those beautiful people and wonderful group of folks who have been supporting the clubs all along. And I think it helps as we in our clubs to have this support. But thank you. The biggest thanks go to all of you because you did keep our clubs going this year. And you are people of action. You made it happen. And it's pretty amazing what you all accomplished. I think this is the way we all felt at least one time during the year. It's like, holy shebang, what is gonna do? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? But instead, this is what you created. And I will never, ever, ever forget, what you've done for this district, and for me, from a selfish perspective, we're not supposed to say it, but it was my year as district governor, right? It was your year as club president. And, there's a lot to be said about looking for those moments of joy in our life, in our Rotary year, whatever it is in our communities. I found this early on in the year that said the most difficult journeys often take us where we were meant to go. We didn't know we were going here, but I think all of us in some ways had this journey as leader of our clubs or of our district for a certain reason. And you did make me so very, very, very proud of all of you. Bottom line is we survived. So thank you. And we have a few more minutes before they cut us off. So if there's anything else that I can do to support you, your clubs from now through the end of June, and you know what? I'm going to be there beyond too. I'm still in Rotary, still in leadership. Whatever I can do to support you, just please always know you can always reach out to me and just ask. Happy to support whatever I can. So any other comments? What do we want to say before we wrap this up?
I would like to ask the Rotary Club of Portola to give us their recipe for the sanitizer that those members were making in the kitchen to pass out. Sam, you guys were phenomenal on Facebook and everything else. And then go to the district Facebook group and look at Sam in his beautiful Dr. Seuss costume or whatever it was he was wearing. just phenomenal Rotary Club. I encourage all of you to share all of your club projects. Hi. I encourage all of you to share your club projects on the on your Facebook pages, because your public image team is watching, and we are pulling. And just today we pulled another one from Alturas. So Sam, wonderful job, but I do want the recipe for the sanitizer.
Okay, it's pretty simple. We got it from the CDC, so.
Oh, and you know, that's the other thing Stacy's talking about. We had pictures on Facebook, but we also have videos that you guys, the club, submitted. They sort of trickled in slowly, but by the end, by when we had rally last week, and obviously today is part of it too, and House of Friendship is still open. Go watch the club videos from the other clubs that aren't yours, because it gives you a great idea of some of the other projects that can be done, and the pride that you can feel from what everybody put together. I just think it was great. So,
Hey, Berta, I have a quick question about the auction.
yeah.
Okay, so I happen to have all the stuff for our area 3. How are we supposed to find out like who won? And like Roger said he's going to take the stuff to whoever wins it, but he's out of town. So I'm just wondering, how do we connect those dots to make sure whoever won the item gets it?
Well, Richard Forster and Lori McMahon are in charge of the House of Friendship and the auction. And so Richard, being the administrator for the auction website, will get the listing of all the lead bidders. And so the lead bidders closes at 5 p.m. today. So once it closes, the lead bidder will have an opportunity to go pay for it. And if they choose not to, if they say, oh, I changed my mind, then it goes back to the previous one, and etc. Okay, send check in, and Richard will be letting each of the AGs know who won it and where it needs to go. So it's at that point. But if for whatever reason you can't connect with Roger, connect with Richard Forster.
And Leslie, I'm the leading bidder for Area 3. I know you bid against me and I'm watching you.
Girlfriend.
I will be happy to drive up to Area 3 and pick that up and enjoy some of the wonderful things that are in it.
It is a crazy basket. It's got so much stuff in it. It's all sitting in my living room right now. And I thought I'd bid on it, but I could recant. But let me ask you this. Where do you live in case you end up winning it?
Grass Valley.
Oh, cool. I could drive down there for a little
Well, no,
bit.
I can drive up there and we can have a glass of wine in your living room as I gather all my winnings.
There's about 10 bottles in there. You know, we could have a big party.
We can have a huge party.
Just you and me, Stacy, I'll tell you. Okay, so that's great.
Okay,
Excellent.
well, I think we're supposed to be getting off and going on to the final wrap up of LLA. And so I hope you go over to that, go back to the hub and go into that. God bless you all. Thank you all, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. And thanks for being here today to kind of wrap up this. We still have 6 more, 7, 8 more weeks, whatever it is. And I wish you all the best in your clubs as you finish up the year. Hey, Robin and Corey, your little one. Hello. That's great. Take care, all of you. Keep enjoying that journey. Bye, guys.